Swagatam, Swagatam, we're about to start singing the Krishna Lila Stava. I'm going to put it on the screen. Can you see? Oh, is it okay? Can you see? Let's see. Perhaps I didn't share. I shared only one time, I think.
Yes, I can see, Prabhu.
You can see this Krishna Lila Stava? Okay,
Yes.
if you want to sing, Prabhu.
Okay. Sarva Shastra Dipiyusha Sarva Vedaika Sattva Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadhya Sarva Lokaika Drikpadha. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all the Vedic scriptures, O most prominent transcendental fruit of all the Vedas, O you are enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions, O you who grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O life breath of the Vaishnava,
Actually, this is the beginning of the second shlok.
devotees.
Sava
Oh,
Bhagavat Pran Srimad Bhagavat Prabhu Kalidvanto Dita Ditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life breath of the Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of the Kali Yuga. You are actually Lord Krishna who has returned among us.
Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshi Aksharayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namastume. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer respectful obeisances unto you by reading you one attains transcendental bliss for your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are an incarnation of Lord Krishna. Madeka Bandhu Matsangin Madguru Manmahadana Manishtaraka Madbhagya Madananda Namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my companion, O my teacher, O my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you.
Sadhu Saduta Dayin Atine Chochatarakam Vachinmam Prem Narit Kantayo Suram. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintliness to the unsaintly, O uplifter of the very fallen, please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest upon my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna, Vinastava Ki Jai, Shri Ram, Sanatan Goswami Ki Jai. Okay. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyan Timirandasya Kananjana Shalakaya Chakshumilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadama Yam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Sa Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Samjivam Dvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Upesh Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kansane Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhasha Kripas Devacha Pitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu
Prabhu Ananda
Advaita Gadadha
Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we can offer this class to Vamsidas Babaji Maharaj. Today is the disappearance day of this great devotee in France. Can you see my screen on the recap of Gauranga Darshan?
No.
No? Okay, so let me again share. And now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So again, perhaps we can recap quickly. Where are we in this Bhagavatam? It's only one book. It's not 12 books. But sometimes devotees tend to break it down. Yesterday, I broke it down for the sake of convenience. But it's one book. It's a big book, but it's one book. It's not 12 books, 12 cantos or 12 books. No, it's one book.
Yeah, so practically the chapter 8 is all about uh, Parikshit Maharaj asking questions.
Yes.
And as we see that Parikshit Maharaj will inquire from Sukdev Goswami, and as it was mentioned before, all Narad Muni will not do the task himself, but he will hand over to Srila Vyasdev to do so.
Correct.
And there will be descriptions of the Lord's. Parikshit will inquire about the Lord's wonderful potencies, and will understand that how there are also living being in all planets, and for all living beings in all planets, hearing about the wonderful pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna is extremely auspicious for all the living entities in all planets, as I mentioned. And also, Parikshit Maharaj will request Sukdev Goswami to help him to place his mind upon the Supreme Soul, and in this way he will be able to be completely free from material desires, and be ready to live his body in a perfect way. And then we'll see that how Krishna, the Krishna, once a devotee develop his relationship with Krishna, realizes his relationship, how by default the dust of material conditions, material impurities gets cleansed from his heart, especially lust, anger, and hankering. And we were discussing about the nature of the autumnal rains.
Yes.
How it cleans the mud from heavy rain.
Yes.
And later we also understood how there was this analogy given about how a traveler, like we are the jivas, we are traveling in interplanetary in the material world, and how only when a traveler reaches home from a troubled journey, then he feels fully satisfied. So we understand that uh, the moment we'll connect with Krishna and ultimately come into our constitutional position. That means loving Krishna, serving Krishna, then, or even going back home. This is when we will be fully satisfied.
Mm.
And also, there was this mention of how we don't acquire our body accidentally, and it's all according to our karma.
Yeah.
And there was the explanation of how Brahma uh, Brahma appears from the lotus flower, which the you see the there is this, I mean, how Brahma appears.
Mm.
And then we also learn about the Krishna, how Krishna is in our heart as super soul and what is his activity. But at some point, when a devotee comes to establish his relationship with Krishna, then Paramatma appears in his heart, and how uh, the the action of Bhagwan, realization, Bhagwan acts differently compared to Paramatma.
Mm.
Paramatma is just the he witnesses, but once Bhagwan, there's Bhagwan realization in one's heart, how Bhagwan take over the the matter in his hand for that particular soul.
Yes.
Yeah, and if Morshikar would like to add something.
No, no, it's okay.
Yeah, so pretty good recap, huh? So it's a long string of questions from 7 to 23. Beginning, there's a few questions on Jiv Tatwa and what kind of form of the Lord did Brahma see? And the question arises by Maharaj Parikshit. Is that form of the Lord that he saw, is it the same as one of our forms as a Jiv? And of course, we know the answer. It's not at all the same. And then the whole series of questions, we are totally in the thick of it now, pertaining to Kal, time, factor, and Karma. We're in the thick of that, and let's proceed up to 23. So thank you for your recaps. 17. Yugani yuga manam cha dharmo yascha yuge yuge avataranucharitam yadascharyatamam hare. In case you want to repeat individually, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. Please explain all the different ages in the duration of the creation and also the duration of such ages. Also tell me about the different activities of the different incarnation of the Lord in different ages. So here, uh, this is another question from Parikshit Maharaj, and he want to understand, he want to learn about the different pastimes that the Lord had in different incarnation, in different yogas, and how uh, Parikshit Maharaj, he was very serious not to just act like a carried away by sentiments of a common man and just to accept the Lord's incarnation casually, but he wanted to really deeply be absorbed in understanding the Lord's pastimes in different incarnations, and how Prabhupada will explain that um Krishna uh, perform all these pastimes as he desires. He's not bound by any law of material nature.
Mm.
And also, even cheap people may think that, oh, this is just a common activity, or it's, they can conclude that Krishna is acting just like a common person. But in reality, we need to understand that Krishna's activity, they are transcendental. They are not just ordinary. And also the position, the platform, as I mentioned, where Krishna is, it's on the absolute platform, not on the mundane platform that we think. And all these Krishna is doing for that, so that we get attracted to him directly, associate with him, and this is the only way that we can get rid of our material contamination.
Yes. So we are dealing one of the question of the homework was we are obviously referring to a particular topics amongst the 10. As we know, the Bhagavatam is constituted of 10 topics.
And questions, yeah.
Tell me which topics. It appears in the second sentence of the purport. And you see
One
Maharaj,
of the
yes,
one of the question was that uh, what what are the incarnations of the Lord, and describe the different incarnations of the Lord.
yeah. So remember, if you want to know the 10 topics, it's 10:1. We're coming up to that verse soon. So Manvantara Ishanukata. These are two different topics, the changes of Manvantara. There's 14 Manvantara per Kalpa. And also Ishanukata, it's one topic, means the science of God, all the science of the avatars, all the science of the great Narendra, Naladev, and the great kings like Prithu. So here we are dealing with basically Vishwanath explained the Yuga avatars. And Vishwanath explained that all these different avatars are going to propose different types of bhakti. And so we are dealing with that. So as I said, those questions of Maharaj Parikshit are going to pave the way practically for the whole Bhagavatam to unfold. So this chapter 8 is very important. Is putting forward questions that will unfold for cantos after cantos. So this is basically the stepping board. All these questions are going to incite Shukdev to answer, and that's going to constitute Bhagavatam. You can see the loftiness of these questions from 7 to 23. It's going to take hundreds and hundreds of pages to answer. Yeah, so I think you covered nicely. 18, Nrinam Sadharano-dharma Savisheshascha Yadrishaha Shreninam Rajaschinam Cha Dharma Krishreshu Jivatam.
Hare Krishna,
Can
sir.
you
Yeah, I will read. Please also explain what may generally be the common religious affiliations of human society, as well as their specific occupational duties in religion, the classification of the social orders, as well as the administrative royal orders, and the religious principles for one who may be in distress. So, here, uh, the, the main occupational duty of uh, all the human society and even for animals is devotional service.
Yes,
So anyone can be engaged in devotional service.
yes.
They can access the path, the spiritual path through devotional service.
Yeah. There's a verse in the seventh canto that Lord Krishna appears in all different species of life. Remember that verse is blood. Trying to remember the beginning. It's always the same. If you can manage to get the first word, itam nilitiryag, yes. Itam nilitiryag rishidev, jasavatarer. So sometimes Nri he appears within the as a human, Lord Krishna, Lord Ram. Tiryak means animals. Varahadev, Rishi. When did he appear as a Rishi? Parashuram is a Rishi. Dev, sometimes he appears as a Dev, as a demigod, for instance, Vamdev. Sometimes Jasa. Jasa means aquatic. So Matasya, you know, tortoise. So, for instance, Sri Vajrangaji, yeah, it's a nice name. It's a rare name of Hanuman. Sri Vajrangaji. It's not a common name of Hanuman, but Hanuman has got many.
Bajrang Bali. Yeah.
Yes, Vajrangaji. So Aitukiya Pratyata, nothing, no one, no.
Bajrang Bali Prabhu, is because he received the Bajra of Indra on his
Yes.
skin. Prabhu, why they put animal here? Hanuman is not an animal.
Well, he's a
Translation
Vanar.
is not good.
He's a Vanar. Vanar
Yeah.
means some types of celestial monkeys.
Mm.
So, yes, of course, he's a pure devotee of the Lord. But technically, Vanar means that's still a division of amongst the monkey races. It's not a
Yeah,
mon-
and see, the purport is written by Prabhupada. We might think that it's just a name given to that particular sort of body, like human being, a certain form of body has been given the name of human being.
But
So just like that, it's not disrespectful. It's not something telling Hanuman that he's an animal is disrespectful.
yeah. Just like Krishna, if you start to identify Lord Krishna to a Varaha, to a Matsya,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
would be inappropriate. A pure devotee is never uh, mukta. What is that verse? Narakasya, the sixth canto. Narak Ashva Narayana Narayana. What is it? There's a verse. Narayana Parayana. Yes, devotee is Narayan Parayana. So even if he goes to Narag, he's never fearful because he never identifies with his body. So now the whole purport here is it's quite interesting, yeah? Because my question is religion a cultural affair or a national affair? That's
No, it's for humanity. It's
yeah,
not for a particular religion. It's for human beings, no matter what, what color, creed, race.
exactly. And unfortunately, many religions today, mainstream, they tend to, they have tended to fall into that upadi. This is my religion, my country. You guys are okay. You are Indians. It's a different religion. We respect you. Please respect us. So immediately they grow barriers. That's not at all the proper understanding of religion. What to speak of Muslims, they are even more sectarian, or Jews.
Yeah,
They're fighting like hell now in Palestine, Israel. So again, you know, if they have understood Sanatan-dharma, savepum sampalo dharmo yato bhakti adokshajé aetuki apratiyata yatma supasidati. No need to fight. And the Prabhupada is quite sagacious in this 18. What does he say? Even if you don't accept Krishna, many people, even religionists, don't accept Krishna. But what is their saving grace? If they want to grow in their own, it's called Upadharma, we have to admit, sub-religion. They can still grow provided,
They obey the disciplinary principle.
yeah, provided they follow their respective leaders. They follow Jesus Christ, they follow Mahomet.
they follow them 100% as it's mentioned,
Exactly.
not not get diverted or create their own mental speculation.
Exactly. Even the Muslim, within the Muslim, which is oftentimes they're quite orthodox and sectarian. I don't know if you have heard about the Druses. It's a type of a Muslim school, but they are quite strict. They are veg. They are they believe in the science of the soul, and sometimes they are called Sufi. Before I joined, for a very short while, I was following this path. Gurdjieff, Upensky. They are into Sankhya Yoga, dividing the elements of matter, and they're quite virtuous, veg, atmagyan, how to understand the components of the universe. You know, they're called Sufi, Sufisms, Druze. It's
So face about the
I
Muslim, it's coming.
I heard, yeah, I heard about Sufis too, that it's connected with the Muslims also.
yeah, it's a esoteric path within the Muslim faith. I had a right before I got to know Bhagavatam, and I had a few months deep interest. I was reading Gurdjieff, I remember. Upensky. Upensky was a disciple of Gurdjieff. They were quite active in the 19th century in France. Uh, for 6 months, 1 year, I was into that. Then shortly after that, I met Iskan. So this is, and of course, the question arises, what's the difference between a religious leader and the supreme personality
Yeah.
when it comes to following a religious path? So in other words, Prabhupada is saying here, the difference is religious leaders, they tend to undertake strong periods of penance, like Jesus Christ. You have seen Jesus Christ himself went to, in Bhavishya Puran, it's mentioned, he's called Ishaputra, and he undertook severe penances in India, in Kashmir. Some say he went to Puri even. And obviously, he undertook penances And of course, Tapodivyam Putrakayana Sadvam Shudyat, you undertake penances for the sake of purifying the heart. And he became an avatar. So, but you know, he had to undertake things in order to advance. Do you see Krishna undertaking any penance, any vows to? Sometimes for the sake of lila, yes, he is going to atone for so-called killing Aristasur. You know, there's a lila with Srimati Radharani and the gopis. Oh, you got contaminated. You, please take penance. That's a lila. But
And he does that to set example.
exactly. So that's the difference. That is why we are not into Apad-dharma, or if you look it up 7, 15, 12 at your leisure time, you can see Narad defines 5 types of, it's called Vidharma. Vidharma means basically Kitava-dharma. uh, Very interesting sections. Look it up 7, 15, 12. You will see Shaya-dharma, Upadharma. And unfortunately, if you analyze scrutinizingly, all the religions today are more or less a dharma, because they, number one, they stray away from Vedic culture. uh, Just imagine you are into Krishna consciousness, and then for some unfaithful turn of events, you fall back down into becoming a Christian, a Muslim. I had a godbrother like this 40 years ago, perhaps. And he told me, I remember he said, better to be a good Christian than a bad Hare Krishna. And he became again a Christian, and then again eating meat. So where does he stand? And that was a foolish conclusion. Better be a good Christian than a bad Hare Krishna.
But
No.
he's not a good Christian also,
Yeah.
because Jesus never said anyone to eat meat. He was very clear in the Bible that
Yeah.
he mentioned the grains, this and that will be your food. He never mentioned meat will be your food.
No, but they said he mentioned that when there will be no food, then they can subsist on fish or something like this.
That even Prabhupada mentioned, if you're preaching, you're giving Krishna consciousness to others, if you're in a country cold or in a situation where there's scarce of food, for the sake of maintaining your body and for why human being, why they need to maintain their body. They need to maintain their body for self-realization and give Krishna consciousness to others. But for that this sake, you need to keep yourself alive in that body. Then you can go for meat, not for sense gratification. Am I right, Prabhu? Please,
Yeah.
please
Yeah. It's corroborated in 1.5.17. Jagva Svadharmam Sharanam Bujam Hare Bhajana Bhagavad Tatpatattatu Yadi Yatragva Bhadrama Bhutta Mushyakim Kuverta Apta Bhajatam Svadharmataha. This is Narada 2, Narada 2, yesterday. He's saying, for one who has forsaken material occupations to engage in the loving service of the Lord, he may fall down. So if you look from a material perspective, when you join ISKCON, already people consider you are fallen because you left your career to undertake Krishna consciousness. For them, it's a fall down. Did you notice? So now, what to speak? You have a second fall down within ISKCON. You leave ISKCON. This is the point of that verse 1.5.17. People will say, oh, the poor guy is double fall down. He left his career, he joined this society, he left the society now. But Nara say, no, I don't agree. There is no danger of his being unsuccessful. See? And it is echoed in the Gita, Neya Bikram Nashatosti, Pratyavayena Vidyate 240. There is never any diminution for someone who has treaded the path of Krishna consciousness. And Narad is very heavy. On the other hand, someone who is into material life, fully engaged in his occupational duties, for him there is no success. Can you imagine? It's quite politically, Krishna consciousness is politically incorrect. Religion used to say that all the time. Even Prabhupada is not politically correct. Doesn't make sense. The guy is a good citizen, a good husband, a good father, a good colleague at work, and Narad say is unsuccessful. Prahlad makes the same point in the seventh canto. Sorry, fifth canto, 5:14, 18. He says, Manorat denasati davatobai. Why is he unsuccessful? Because Manorat, his mind is driven by, like on a cart, on a chariot, Manorat.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, can you imagine, he's a good guy in society. He's paka, he's well appreciated, everything. But totally driven by Manorat. Prahlad is even more heavy than Narad. He's saying he has no good quality. It's a very heavy statement. And of course, we know the rationale. The rationale is to say, okay, he has no good qualities, only 0, 0, 0, 0. But if you put a 1 in front of all the zeros, then he becomes quite an asset because he becomes extremely skillful. Why? Because all of a sudden he became Krishna consciousness and he has a lot of skills now to offer. You follow? So we should not tell them, rub it in on their faces, you are useless. That's the verdict of the Shastra, but we have to rub them in and by telling them, use, this is Yukta Vairagya, use your skill into Krishna consciousness. And that's the purpose of a devotee. What is the verse in the Gita? The preacher's verse. I think it's 526, 516. Oh, sorry, 326. Nabudi bedam jashayet, joshayet savakamani, vinvan yukta samacharan. We should never disrupt the minds of those who are attached to their fruits. Rather, we should try to find ways and means to engage them into Krishna consciousness, even against their will. We're not going to finger point them, oh, you are in Maya, stop everything. Because inaction is the worst thing ever. Better to be in material life than to be inactive. Why? Because at least in material life you are active, you're using your passion. So it's just a matter of transferring your passion into Krishna consciousness to do things for Krishna. So back to 18. Perhaps another good term to delve into is Apad-dharma. What's the meaning of that? Apad-dharma. We discussed before, way before. What's the meaning of Apad-dharma? It's mentioned at the end of the purport.
I I want you to elaborate on that, Prabhu. That's my question.
Okay. So let's look it up. It's called cross references. When you study, it's always good to come up with cross references, and Vedabase is good for that. 117.16, when it in the section of punishment and reward for Kali, it's mentioned there. So Prabhupada says here 2:8:18, he talks about religion in distress. What does it mean? Apad-dharma. I will explain, but if you try to rack your brain and remember, you can even look it up, 117.16. It's more developed there than here. Okay, so when you are in times of crisis, in in 247 Gita, Krishna Prabhupada explained this different types of duties, routine work, like we are doing our daily life sadhana. There is no extraordinary circumstances where we have to eat meat, where no, everything is mellow and unfolding. There is no crisis, at least for the time being. There may be a crisis soon, but and back to 247, Prabhupada says sometimes there's emergency duties. And look it up, 247. Emergency duties. Let's say, and if you look it up, 117.16, it says Vishvamitra ate meat one time. One time, Prabhupada told Harikesh, you go back to Russia, you eat meat. I don't care. You preach, you eat meat. Doesn't bother me. That's it.
Vishwamitra ate meat.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look it up, 117.16, Vishvamitra ate some flesh of dogs one time
Why? Why, Prabhu?
because he had no choice. He had no choice. So that's called Apad-dharma. For instance, during the collect, I remember we collected, for the saving of Himalaya. It was Apad-dharma. We barely chanted our 16. We were traveling France, left, right, and corner. We had to make two grands a day, francs, not euros, without fail. Everyone. Intense pressure. No, practically forbidden to do books. We cannot do books. It's too meager. We have to do paintings day and night. Only one day off to do books. It was Apad-dharma. It's like emergency duties. Vishwamitra ate meat because he had no choice. Let's say you are born in North Pole. What are you going to eat? There's no fruits. It's minus 50 all the time. You're going to eat some seal. You follow? You have no choice. One of my friends went to North Pole. He told me you have to drink alcohol, otherwise you die. It's minus 70. They have to drink rum because the body starts freezing all the time, minus 60, minus 80. These are totally hellish places. So this is Apad-dharma, emergency duties. But the tendency, that's the danger, you start to normalize Apad-dharma all the time. No, if, let's say, we were doing nonsense now, this is not times of emergency. We can prosecute Krishna consciousness smoothly, be veg and all these things. So that would be my. Apad-dharma means when you are totally cornered by
Uh,
circumstances.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yeah.
At that time when Vishwamitra was eating flesh of dogs, was he was he really preaching Krishna consciousness? I mean, what was he doing?
Well, I'm just, as
So
I
my
said,
question,
yeah.
so my question to you, let's put it like that. My question to you is that suppose a human being find himself in a situation where there's no food, but he's living like a karmi. He's not living he's not performing devotional service. So if he eat meat in the circumstance where he's not performing devotional service, but he's into material
Then
activities,
that's not Apad-dharma.
then okay, that's sinful then.
Of course, it becomes
But then
Ugra karma.
Vishwamitra, so at the time of when Vishwamitra was in a such position that he had to eat the flesh of dogs, was he a
No,
devotee? Was he
he was he
performing
was uh,
devotional?
he was properly situated, but he had no choice. So Prabhupada explained, look it up 11716. I can
I'm
read out.
there. Yeah,
You can look
I
it up.
mean,
He had to live on the
yeah,
flesh of dogs in some extraordinary dangerous position. So
yeah, but
that's apad.
yeah.
But if you start to carry on in that mood, and now the circumstances around you are back to normal, that's no more apad-dharma, that's vidharma, that's ugra karma.
So I'm going through that verse, 1:17-16.
Mm.
But if I want to know, I mean, so Vishwamitra is on the path of self-realization. That's why when he's eating flesh of dogs, he's not he's not doing a sinful activity.
Mm.
Is that what we should understand? Because
Exactly.
Vishwamitra was not like Narad Muni
Yeah,
or
not
the devotee
advanced.
giving Krishna consciousness to others at that time.
Yeah, he was
Correct me if
certainly
I'm
on the
wrong.
path of progression. He was not self-realized. He became self-realized much later when he became a Brahma Rishi. In the Ramayana, he became self-realized. But he lived for millions of years, Vishwamitra, and he struggled like hell during his journey. He fell down due to Menaka. But while living for such a long time, he encountered some harsh difficulties, and he was cornered. To survive, he had to meet.
He was a Kshatriya too. Or is it
Yeah,
because he offended Vashist Muni?
yeah, yeah. That's another path. That's another path. If you look at 7:15:12, Narad again to Yudhishthir, if you change your dharma, if you change your occupational duty, it's called paradharma. Paradharma has two meanings: a good meaning, savem pumsam padodharmo yato bhakti adochaji, but it has also a bad connotation. Look it up once. Sorry, 7:15:12. If you shift your occupational duty, just like Guru Drone did, Vishwamitra did. This is not good. Krishna doesn't like that. Krishna was not in favor of Guru Drone. He was not.
That's in 7:15-12.
Yeah. In 7:15:12, it's a beautiful topic from quite a few verses. Narad explained the five types of vidharma. Vidharma means adharma. And one of them is changing your occupational duty. Like he was a king. Out of revenge, he wanted to get back at Vashisht. That's totally irreligious, this consciousness. Right? And then only due to
Oh,
penance, he became Rajarishi, and he became also, what do you call it, Saptarishi. And finally, at the end of the day, he became Brahma Rishi. So he ended up on the level of Vashisht. And then in Ramayana, totally, he had a beautiful ending. He understood this Lord Ram is Krishna, is the Supreme. And then he finished his life splendidly. But it was a long, arduous journey. He was not so Krishna conscious in the beginning. So anyway, if you take the time today, look at 7:15:12. There's a whole lot of verses dealing with the different types of a dharma, is much more precise than, 112 Ketavadharma. Stave Pumsam, what is the verse? Dhammo Prajita Ketavadharma. That's very succinct. Ketava, okay. Ketava means okay, cheating. But what does it take? What are the ramifications? So if you want to go into that, 7, 15, 12, etc., you will see. Okay, so let's get down to uh, yeah, I made a mistake here in the question. It's 19. Yugeshvar is 19. Yeah. Okay, let's get 19. Perhaps Vishwanath on 18, perhaps something. Yeah, so Vishwanath has a different approach, as usual. It says in 18, Sadharana-dharma. Can you see the Sanskrit? Sadharana-dharma. So Sadharana-dharma, according to Vishwanath, means bhakti for man, even for outcast. We are into Sadharana-dharma. Sadharana-dharma means bhakti pertaining to mankind. And Savishesh, can you see 18? Savishesh refers to smarta consciousness. If you consider that dharma has to do with your birth, uh, let's say you are, it's called Jati Goshai, smarta Brahmin. Oh, I'm born as a Brahmin, hence I've got some, it's called, what do you call it? Karma Kandiya. I've got my, what do you call it in Sanskrit? Um, there's a term, your karmas, you're getting the term. It's not entirely wrong. Even Mahaprabhu was a Brahmin, and you could see he was partaking his Brahminical ablutions in the morning. If you're a Kshatriya, you have other types of occupational duties. That's called Savishesh Dharma, according to birth. But on a very high level, you're going to give that up. Madhavendra Puri, Goshai, even, of course, he's a parikar, he's a Kalpataru in the spiritual world. At one point, he even gave up his Gayatri. We cannot imitate. But all these daily duties pertaining to your Varnashram, they are totally fine up to the stage where you are totally immersed in Krishna Katha. When you are totally reinstated in your Swarup, then no need of doing all your Nitya karmas and all these things. No, no more needed. So Vishwanath is going in that direction, and then he's quoting 2418, Kirata, Unandra Pulinda Pukasha. Everyone can, even if you are born as a lower race, Greek, Yavan, you can still make it. Then the Dharma of the Vaishyas, Shreninam, it says here, the Dharma of the Vaishyas, the Dharma of the kings. And of course, what is the bottom line? Everyone should take a bhakti. Even Parikshit, remember, he thought to himself, now I can give up all my karma kandiya, yagyas, because I met Shukadev. So no need anymore to do all these things. I'm giving up my life. He stopped all these things. He gave the throne to Banamejai. And of course, Vishwanath touches on Apad-dharma also. He's saying, like Srila Prabhupada, there is another dharma in emergency situations. When it's difficult to act according to dharma, according to varna, sorry. You follow, let's say, can you imagine if there's a scarcity of food? What's going to happen to us? Are we going to stop Krishna consciousness? No, we may eat some roots, we may eat some. We're going to try to be veg. One time they asked a question to Prabhupada. What would you do if you have nothing else to eat but meat? What did Prabhupada say? You know?
If he has to preach, if he has to give Krishna consciousness to others, and for that sake he has to maintain his body, he will do so.
No, that's interesting. He didn't answer like this. I would have thought so, like you, but he said, no, I will let myself die. So, in different circumstances, he told Arikesh, you go back to Russia and eat meat. But for himself, he said, no, I will let myself die. So, as I said, if you are protected by preaching and Yukta Vairagya, you may resort. But Apad-dharma only in times of emergency, distressful conditions. It's mentioned at the end of the Kali Yuga, there'll be no veg. I don't know if you know the 12th canto. On the fruits, there'll be only the nuts, no flesh around the nuts. You'll be forced to be cannibals. People will be cannibals.
I heard Prabhu Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur once made his disciples cook meat to feed the British
Yeah, I don't
because
know about
of
this one, but one time when they were building the railway track, uh, so that the governor could come on the opening of Yoga Pit, there was 1 lakh workers working day and night. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he noticed, oh, they have to stop to smoke their bidis. So Bhaktisiddhanta, he told his disciples, you please roll the bidis for them so they don't stop. You roll the bidis. See, this is the epitome of Yukta Vairagya. I don't know about the meditating, but just like you say that. But this I read, even he told you please roll them the cigarettes to gain time. Bhaktisiddhanta was extremely avant-garde. He was extremely avant-garde. He used to drive a Jaguar. He had a three-piece suit, you know. He was extremely provocative. He gave a seminar on Sri Upanishad in Radhakund. The Babaji were saying this is scandalous. How dare you? You come all the way to Radhakund to preach Sri Upanishad? And then Bhaktisiddhanta said, I'm leaving, there's no devotees. Can you imagine he's saying that in Radhakund, there's no devotees, I'm leaving. Okay, let's move on. 19. Tadvanam parisankyanam lakshanamitu lakshanam. Purusha radhana vidya yugasya dhyatmikasya cha.
That's to it 19.
Yeah, that's 19.
Can you explain all about the elementary principle of creation, the number of such elementary principles, their causes and their development, and also the process of devotional service and the method of mystic powers? So, but okay, yeah, there's no purport, and
Yeah,
I don't want to.
it's quite straightforward. Look at the Sanskrit. Parisankhya. Sankhya. Sankhya mean?
Analytical is the
Yeah. Like Tadvanam. Can you see? Tadvanam means the elements and their Svarup, their Lakshanam. Lakshana means symptoms. Huh? So you can say, sometimes you find Swarup Lakshan, Tatashta Lakshan, the primary symptoms, the secondary symptoms. So here, Parikshit is going to ask about Sankhya Yoga, basically. That's going to be answered in the third canto. In the third canto, there's twice explanation of Sankhya Yoga by Kapil. So Vishwanath explained this is Sankhya Yoga referring to and how it gives rises to various effects. Hetu Lakshanam. And Purush, it's mentioned in Purush Aradhana. Aradhana means to worship. So we are referring to the Purush avatar here and their activities. And yoga, you can see yoga, yogasya. Yoga here refers to Yoga Mishra Bhakti, according to Vishwanath. So these are very wide questions. That's going to take long time to answer all this. And Yogeshvar, so my question was, who is Yogeshvar?
Krishna.
What is the verse,
Shiji.
the Gita?
Oh,
You should know always the first and the last verse. One time I was in the train in Doti in India, and one guy out of the blue asked me, what is the first and last verse of the Gita? It was quite provocative. And then what did I tell him? What is the first?
Dharma
Shri
Kshetre.
Vikas Uvach.
Dharma, yeah, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyotsava
Kima Kurvat.
Pandava Sheva.
Kimakurat Sanjaya.
And then last verse. Yatra Yogeshvaro Krishna Yatra Pardanu Daraha Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti Druvani Tirma Mama. So I just in one flash I told those two shlokas in his face, and then he came quiet. But sometimes in India, people challenge you. So you have to be ready. So yes, 1878, Yatra Yogeshvaro Krishna. But here in 20, we are referring to smaller Yogeshvaras. What does Prabhupada say?
Yeah,
We are in
Shiji.
19.
We are in
We are
20. We are in. Oh, sorry. We haven't read. Sorry, we haven't read 20. Sorry, I'm ahead of time. Yogeshvarasya, Yogeshvari, Yogeshvarira, Yogeshvaresvaryagati, Linga Bangas to Yoginam, Vedopavet, Brahmanam Itihas Purana Yoho.
What are the opulences of the great mystics and what is their ultimate realization? How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? What is the basic knowledge of the Vedic literatures, including the branches of history and the supplementary of Puranas?
Go back to Yogeshvar.
Yeah, so in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he refer Yogeshwar to Lord Shiva.
Yeah. Or any great, basically any great master of mystic powers, like you have Sindhu Vasmuni is an expansion of Lord Shiv. And there's some great souls like this. They they're quite they master Yogeshvar, Ishvar, they master yoga. For instance, Dattatreya, the four Kumaras are definitely they're Brahma Gyan. They're the personification of Brahma Gyan, Brahma Vidya. So they master totally the Asta Siddhi, huh? Asta Siddhi, you know that, huh? Asta Siddhi. So,
Mm-hmm.
but of course, the Prabhupada draws a contrast between those fellows
Mhm.
and the devotees. What does he say?
He said that, for the devotee, they are not after mystic powers, but when in need, they are protected by the mystic power of the Supreme Lord.
Yeah, and they can even accomplish great feats, great exploits to the force. And of course, it has 20 as a subtle connotation, talking about the destruction of the subtle body of those Yogeshvaras or even devotees. Of course, the greatest is Lord Shiva. They are,
So
that's,
Lord Shiva is also a great mystic.
oh yeah, can you imagine?
Prabhu, but I have a question. If
Yes.
person practice mysticism, he got mystic powers, and if he creates planets unnecessarily, what will happen?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Uh,
It should be, if you have great mastery of CDs, then that's well and good. Then you're coming from a Yoga Mishra or horizon. But you better use that in the service of the Lord, otherwise it's Shrama Eva Ikevalam. That is why the demigods, they are called Vibhutimat Sattvat. They have great mastery. The demigods can change their bodies, they can become invisible. I mean, it's a piece of cake for them. Indradev can change his body. This is even Ravan, all these great souls, they are not humans. They are Rakshas. They can take any form. You have seen Putana. They're great masters of yogic powers, you know. But it's misused because they have undertaken the path of mysticisms for the sake of defying or denying the position of Krishna. So it can be misused.
mhm,
But here we're talking about pious Yogeshvaras, like Lord Shiv. They have attained great positions, great powers. So Vishwanath explained the description of the destruction of the subtle bodies is suitable for Shanta Bhakti. That is why sometimes Shanta Bhakti is not accepted as Bhakti by some acharyas.
And why is it so? Can you elaborate more on it, Prabhu?
Yeah, see, there's four, it's called Sthayi Bhava. We know there's five or four. Some say five, some say four. What are the five? Or let's stick to the five.
Shantaras, Dasharas,
Yeah,
Sakyaras,
yeah,
Vatsalya, and Madhuryaras.
yeah. These are called Sthayi Bhava technically in Sanskrit. So here Vishwanath says Shanta Bhakti. In other words, he wants to know, Parikshit, how they're going to, what's going to happen to their subtle body. They are not, they are not fully active in Krishna consciousness. They are shant bhakta.
Moshikar, can you mute uh your mic, please? Thank you.
They are
Yes, Prabhu.
shant bhakta. So, for instance, you have seen Prahlad. He's a great, great soul, but he's pretty much on the level of shant, peaceful, you know. So he's
But
realized,
Prabhu, Shanta means neutral.
Yeah.
And when you're telling Prahlad was peaceful, that's shant. You know, someone who is shant means peaceful. But so you mean
well,
I'm little
see,
so
that's
you
what
want to say Prahlad Maharaj was uh
well,
Murshika, can you mute your so you
shant,
want to say
Prahlad is
Prahlad Maharaj was a Shanta
or Dasya
Bhakta?
also. He's got a lot of Dasya Bhav also. He's, you know, but he was not like into Sakya Prem. He was extremely Ishvarya. His mood was extremely awe and reverence. He's a young boy, he's 5. So his demeanor was pure devotion. no doubt, undoubtedly, prem, very high level of prem bhakti. But in terms of study bhav, it's more like shant, dasya, definitely, dasya also. So here the question of Parikshit in 20 is, how does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? We kind of touched on that before, remember? Long, long back, fifth chapter, second canto. What's going to happen? You know, those great souls, it's called, they like to travel as an excursion around the
To
Brahman.
tourism, you mentioned as
Remember, what is the term in Sanskrit? They have a different, particular name. We discussed in those days, she was still around, Chandra. They are called, there's a term, and they like to, they're totally, they're not karmis, be careful, they're quite advanced. But they, in their subtle body, they have no more gross body. They don't need a gross body anymore. They can move around the universe and they can travel from one planet to the next. They can even go to Brahmalok. But they are still motivated by, checking out this place of the Brahmans, And we discussed about that. Remember, I think it was in the fifth chapter. So that that's connected to that. And Parishit is asking here, what's going to happen to those persons when they leave the body? So that's more or less Shanta Bhakti. Shanta Bhakti. I'm trying to remember the term. They are called. There was a,
you told they were spiritual tourists. They go for
yeah, but
spiritual
there's a
tourism.
Sanskrit term. Remember? Trying to remember the Sanskrit term. Uh, Perhaps in sixth. I think it's five. Chapter five. We used to deal with that a lot. I remember.
But Prabhu, there is also the paraphernalia of the Lord, like the bell, the ashan, every chapel. They are all shantaras. They are, means they are not active, passive.
Yeah, be careful. That's under the purview of Ananta Shesh. And Shesh is Vishnu Tattva. Shesh has two tattva. One form of Shesh is Vishnu, the other is Jiv. But he is in charge of providing the paraphernalia for the service of the Lord. It's called Tadiya. Tadiyanam Samarjanam. If, like for instance, the devotee is Tadiya, Tulasi is Tadiya. Whatever pertains to the service of the Lord, you know the verse, Padma Purana, it's even higher than worshipping the Lord Himself. Tadiyanam Samarjanam. Aradhanam Savesham Vishnu Parajat Arjati Panta Tasmat Parantaram Devi Tadiyanam Samarjanam. If you worship Tadiya, that's a different topic. If you worship Tadiya, it's higher than worshiping Krishna. If you worship the slippers of the Lord, the cushion, the mridanga, the devotee, the tulasi, Madbhakta Pujabhyadika, it's higher. So that's a different topic. Um, anyway, I can't find the term in Sanskrit for the spiritual tourist.
But what the destination of the mystic yogi?
Yeah, so that's exactly the question of 20 people. Arikshit wants to know. So, and
No,
we
yeah,
discussed.
you have two kinds of yogi. You said one yogi that are favorable, like Lord Shiva and others, and the material mystic yogi.
Yeah, so we are going back. I think we have to spend a little time back to that. Let's go back to the fifth chapter because we discussed about that. There's two types, remember? There's two types, the gross mystic yogi and the subtle mystic yogi. We discussed about that. I think it's chapter. Let me go to that book of Golanga Darshan. Golanga Darshan was very explicit. Let's go back to, because we don't want to forget as we move along Bhagavatam, we forget the previous chapters, you know. Let me go back. This is, I would say, chapter 4 or 5, perhaps. Yeah. Must have been perhaps before then. Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm totally befooled. It's, yes, it's chapter 2. See, I was again fooled. Remember the krama-mukti? So let me share my screen with you because I can see there's some lack of clarity here. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So this is second chapter. See, there's 2 types of yogis. We are back to the second chapter of this canto. The unattached yogi. Why? Because is higher than this one. This one is Virat Rup yogi, is attached. Uh, and basically this one here is again echoed here. It's called the krama-mukti. This is the term I was looking for. Krama-mukti. This is the Virat Rup meditation. This is the one I was saying is into excursion. He is a quite an advanced person. Be careful. Huh? He's not a materialist. He's revolving on the level of the subtle body, but he likes to move around, you know, and check places out. Various stops before liberation. This is the one. Higher than this would be this one, because he's meditating on Paramatma. And this is Labdopa Shanti. And this is a quite advanced person. Labdopa Shanti is self-realized by meditation on Paramatma. Whereas this one, the Krama Mukti, is still hovering on the platform of the Virat. And of course, at the end of the day, if he joins Brahmalok, uh, he will make it also. But it's a long haul. So let's go further. See, we discuss, remember, this is the place. That's the one. See, Paramatma meditation for the unattached yogi and Virat meditation for the attached yogi.
Attached yogi.
So this is
So
a,
Ikramamukti,
yes,
Ikramamukta is an attached
yeah,
yogi.
exactly. So here back to 820, today's verse, I mean, on
So
the,
he's still attached to the Virat Roop of the Lord.
yeah, yeah, he's still, see, he's still, even though he's not fully realized, but he is on the subtle plane. He doesn't have any gross body. He can move about freely. And he's quite advanced in terms of he has no more karma, etc. But he has an axe to grind. He's still willing to check places. So this is the question here. How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? He wants to know what's going to happen, just like Prabhu was asking, Noshikar was asking, what's going to happen to him? So what's going to happen to him? Well, he better thinks of Krishna at the time of death. Otherwise, he's going to take birth again. But it's not advisable for us because it's a very long aul, you know, Haul. It's a long aul. So,
I have one more question, Prabhu. Like those uh, mystic yogi with subtle bodies, are they referred to the inhabitants of higher planetary system like the Gandharva, Vidyadhara?
yeah, like even the Siddhas, it's called Siddha Lok.
Yeah.
Siddhalok is a satellite of Brahmalok. Narad is coming from Siddhalok. So they have full mastery of the Asta Siddhis. They can fly in the air, they can do anything. But let's say, you're born there, so you have such a good adhikar. But let's
So
say you start reveling in those feats, yoga feats, and to the extent that you forget Krishna. That's not how do you say, it's not
advisable.
advisable. So back to look at my screen, krama mukti, they still have desires to enjoy in Svagalok, Brahmalok, and by meditating on the Virat,
So,
gradually.
Prabhu, my question, if they have the desire to enjoy in Sargalok, so that means they
uh,
still have material desires.
well,
That's material.
I understand what you're coming from. See, they are not, be careful, it's a bit subtle. They are not, they are not Kamakandiya who wants to go to Svagalok. They are, they are, they are evolving on with the subtle body. They have no more gross body. So how do you want to enjoy a woman if you have no gross body? You follow? So they are not, they're much higher than the Kamakandiya who wants to go to Svarga to enjoy with the Apsaras. See, what's his name? Gauranga. They're not ordinary karmis with material desires. They are endowed with
Mhm.
vidya, tap, yoga, gyan, and they don't attain those planets due to their karma. Be careful. Be
Okay.
careful. They are not a karmi. Karmi means karma kandiya. They are mostly, they want to check places out of curiosity. They don't want to, and mostly they are tourisms. I maintain this term mukta rupa, mukta karma mukta. They
Krama-muktas.
Vivajna log, mahalog. They want to check places out, and even at the end of the day, they will go to Brahmalok, and even they will go outside the layers. And around the Brahman, there is some layers, 7 layers, as you know, bigger, thicker as you move outward. And finally, that's a long haul. We don't want that. The pieces, layers of false ego, Mahatattva Pradhan, then merge into Brahman. So, it's a long, 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 long process. So, Parikshit is asking here, please tell me the destination of those guys. Anyway, I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
clarify the whole thing. The main thing is don't forget the previous knowledge as we move across. And that's why second canto is not an easy canto, I'm telling you. You have to always link it up with previous chapters. Because see the difference between us and Parikshit? Parikshit doesn't forget like us. You follow? Parikshit,
Mm-hmm.
it's, how do you say? Incremental. Yes, incremental. It means as he learns, he keeps on building his knowledge. Whereas for us, as we learn, we keep on forgetting. We learn, we forget. So that's a totally different level of student. Parikshit remembers everything. Do you think Parikshit is taking notes? He has a laptop. He's recording. He's, he's a Mukta Srikalagya. So 21. Samplavasava bhutanam vikrama pratisankramaha ishtaputasya kamyanam trivagasya cha yo vidihi.
Please explain unto me how the living beings are generated, how they are maintained, and how they're annihilated. Tell me also, tell me also of the advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotional service unto the Lord What are the Vedic rituals and injections of the supplementary Vedic rites? And what are the procedures of Vedic religion, economic development, and sense satisfaction?
Yeah, it's a big chunk here. Long
Yeah.
purport. We'll finish up after this verse, I guess. It's going to take a while. So again, you can see the loftiness of the questions. He's not searching for his words. He's not mumbling. No, it's clear thinking, high thinking, clear. What's the name of that seminar by Jay?
Ha-
Clear-headed, high thinking, or something.
Simple living, high thinking.
Simple living, high thinking. So you can see Parikshit Maharaj is a self-realized soul. Even while he asks the question, he's already self-realized from birth. But look at the level of the questions. I mean, does he stop? Does he stop to wait that for Shukadev to answer, and then another question, and then Shukadev? No, just imagine the level of Shukadev. He can keep track of all the questions. They're very finicky questions. That's totally beyond human range. I mean, they are self-realized souls. They are pure souls, pure devotees. But Vishnu Parikar, both of them, they're on the same level. So here, Samplava, can you see 21?
mhm.
What's the meaning of Samplava? Because it appears a lot in Sanskrit. Samplava, Pratisamplava.
It has, I mean,
It's their opposite terms.
mhm.
Samplava, Pratisamplava. It's in the purport, beginning of the purport, you can see.
Yeah, perfect, you know. Either once is discharging a pure devotional service
Yeah,
or
it's a bit like Pratikul, Anukul, Pratikul, remember?
mhm.
Favorable, unfavorable. So here we are dealing with the deliverance of the Jews, from the samsara. That's what we're talking about here. And of course, it means we know what is favorable. What is favorable according to Upadeshamrit? Shadbir Bhakti Vinashyati, remember?
Yeah.
What are the six
This
items which are actually
uh
not favorable, unfavorable? Sorry,
and
Vinashyati means to destroy, to spoil.
yeah, overeating, over endeavoring,
Yeah,
being too rigid to principles,
yeah. Atyahara,
association of non-devotees.
exactly. Yeah. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha loryam cha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. That's pratisankalpa. What do you call it? Pratisankalpa.
Samplava.
That's pratisamplava. In other words, it's vinashyati. It's not favorable. It's destroying. It's spoiling your bhakti. Those six. And of course, in Upadeshamrit, you find also what is favorable. What is
Mm-hmm.
favorable according to Upadeshamrit?
Associating with sadhus and
What is
giving up
utsaha?
of
Nishchayat
utsaha, daryat, nishchayat,
deryat. Tat krama
parivartanat,
pravartanat. Jana sanga shalulyam sha.
giving up of
Yeah,
uh,
jhana sangha. Where
giving up association of common men of non-devotees, jana sanga tyagat, and associating with sadhus.
exactly. So this is samplava. What is favorable? Samplava basically you could say anukul. I mean anukul. Yeah, sorry. And practical will be pratisamplava. So it's a very long purport dealing with the rules. It's mentioned the rules for. See, it's mentioned ishta. Can you see ishta means the rules for Vedic ishta. And then the
Mhm.
smarta. Putasya means smarta basically. And I was searching for that term before. Kamya, kamya karmas. Your kamya karmas. See the karma kandiya, they are totally into that kamya karmas. They are totally paka in doing all these things. Kamya. For instance, remember the boys, Krishna and the boys, they're so hungry, and those Kamakandiya Brahmins, they're totally involved into yogic performance of Kamakandiya. The boys that Krishna told, go and fetch food from those guys. What is the outcome of that?
They
You know,
got
they
refused.
got refused. So they were into Kramya karmas. This is Kamakandiya. Ishta, Putasya, Kamyanam. Can you see 21? So this is Trivarga. You follow? Trivargasya is mentioned here. Oh, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Not even Moksha. Dharma, Artha, Kam. Oh, we are totally paka we know our kramya karmas. We are so paka. We know everything. When it comes to feeding the boys, the goats, no, no, please, go and play. Leave us alone. They blew it badly. They displeased Krishna. They displeased the gops. They're doomed, basically. They're doomed. And then the wives, remember?
The
The wife spontaneously
the wives,
took
yeah.
and
Yeah.
fell.
So they're million times more advanced. Million times. And finally, they got it right. Oh, at the end of the day, they understood our wives are much more Krishna conscious. Just like the other way around with Kaliya and the wives. Kaliya was in Mahamaya, but he got spared because of his wives. That's the other way around. The wives were Krishna conscious. Please spare him. He has no brain. He doesn't understand you well. The wives of the Nagapatnis, they were very Krishna conscious. They saved him. That is why, by the way, Kaliya didn't get killed. He was banned to Fiji Island, but he was not killed because of the wives. That's why it's important to have a good Krishna conscious wife. So this is a very deep verse, 21, talking about Trivarga. Mm. He wants to know, can you imagine? I mean, the loftiness and the magnitude of his questions, that's going to take cantos after cantos after cantos to answer. So Prabhupada is going in full every nook and corner of these topics in the purport.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he's reminding us, don't hang out with non-devotee jana sanghas. Don't hang out with non-devotees. Very, very careful with association. Don't stick only to the formalities, the externals. We may fall into the trap, even as an ISKCON devotee or niyamagraha. I'm going through the motions, I'm chanting, but there is no connection with Krishna. course, you may say if you chant, it's not a loss. Yes, even if it's Namaparad, but that's going to take you, going to take me also millions of lives. You may chant Hare Krishna and stay in the material world for millions of lives. You know, if you chant in Namaparad, what do you get in Namaparad?
Material opulence.
Yeah, good pious deeds, but you don't get mukti. You don't get what to speak of prem. You don't go back. Sorry, you don't go back. Bhakti Vinod Thakur explained it becomes your Hare Krishna becomes the alphabet. Krishna Shakti, what is that verse? Uh, Krishna Shakti Vinanayata, no, Golokana Pramadana Harinam Sankirtan. It goes out. And what's left of your Mahamantra is alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine? Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in Harinam Chintamani, he says, a good Kanishta chants in Namabas. He doesn't say Kanishta means Namaparad. No. He says Kanishta means Namabas. And talking about Kanishta, not
Mm-hmm.
Vatsamo, what to speak of town. It's a good Kanishta chants in Namabas. So if we are in Namaparad, you're not even there. You're not even in the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
That's the lookout of Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Mm-hmm.
A devotee should not hanker after anything. He should be satisfied with things that may automatically come to him by the will of the Lord.
So, Prabhu, as we see in this text, it's loaded with very important questions, but we see that, as you mentioned, uh, these questions are going to be answered in various cantos. So,
I can even,
how?
Gauranga Gadashan mentions in his book where it's going to be answered. He has done a tremendous work, this Prabhu.
Yeah, but for 20, he didn't mention that, and I'm kind of interested to
Devahut,
know.
well, he mentions in 20, this is 2021. See, where in 21 he mentions, look, 3-8. In other words, when we say 3-8 here, talking about Bhagavatam, not Gita. So, Canto 3, Chapter 8, then Canto 3, 25 through 33, Canto 4, Canto 4, Canto 7. It's very precise. You can go and look it up. 20, Canto 12.
Yeah, but you see, 21 Gauranga Darshan is giving direction about the answers of 20 questions said by Parikshit Maharaj in text 21, like explain about how uh please explain how much, how the, okay, but not all the questions are not all the questions of 20 are answered in 21.
No,
No,
it,
okay, my question is, when we see Gauranga Darshan,
mm,
yes, for text 21, he's going to give answers where the answers can be found for text 21, which,
mm,
as you mentioned, 38, 325 to 33.
yes.
But partly some of the questions are following in 21, but complete answers of 20.
Well,
So,
it's giving the passages, Devahuti, this is third canto, Dhruv is fourth
okay.
canto, Pritu is fourth canto, Prachitas is fourth canto, Priyavrat is fifth canto. Oh, I see. You don't even know where those episodes are. I can see.
Yeah.
That's me.
So,
That's me. I
so
know.
Gauranga Darshan did a good job, but
Nah,
here
at
I
least you
would
have
say.
Did some basic knowledge of Bhagavatam. Devavati is third canto. Dhruv false. Prithu false. Pratitas false. Priyavat is fixed.
Okay. So practically, the verse 20, the questions in 20 will be answered in Canto 4 and 5.
And three. Devavati is three. Devavati is the mother
Okay.
of Kapil. Huh? Kapil is God
Yeah.
himself. So it is 7 o'clock here for me now.
I
So
would also,
yes, tell me.
it would be also better. You see, there are devotees like Gauranga Darshan wrote this book, and there are Essence. There are so many books that are written based on Srimad Bhagavatam. I wish there would be also books that is written by devotees who can simply go to the essence, like the questions in text 20, they answer it. I'm sorry, I mean, it's like you get the answer readily while you're studying, you're reading it. I mean, this is how I felt. Because what happens is that when you go to Canto 3, Canto 4, Canto 5, you go through the answers, but then sometimes you forget that the question was
Yeah,
what
so
was.
at this level of Bhakti Vibhav, you have to be quite self, uh, how do you say, autonomous, in the sense that you have to build your own reservoir of knowledge, your and cross references. That's a lot of work. I mean, you have to get into the habit of being quite autonomous. Buddhism taught us like this. Ever since I was with Buddhism, I've been cross-referencing all the time, and it pays off, because Buddhism trained us up
Mhm,
practically every day. Do this, do that. He was himself quoting his own life, his own example, as he was trained by Prabhupada himself. So
mhm,
this is parampara. So I understand your point, but at the level of Bhakti Vibhav, you have a lot of personal work to do. Uh, I remember
mhm,
we had 2 and 2, so 4 hours of classes. That's not much, you could say, out of 24 hours a day. But we
mhm.
had practically, I would say, 2, 3 hours of homework. So can you imagine
Yes.
four
Mhm.
plus 2 or 3? It's 6, 7 hours a day of Bhagavatam for 8 years.
Prabhu, the new
Wow.
generation, like Gurujan Prabhu was one generation. He did uh, more hard work. You after him, you did even hard work. We are the next generation. We're not up to
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good point. It's diluted. I mean, now,
uh
can you imagine my students are telling me, Prabhu, can I recite one slok at a time? This Dayal Nitai is my best student. For BV, there's about 70 slok. And the other day, just for the first canto, there's quite a few slok, perhaps 20. He just recited everything in one go, finish. 20, 25 slok in one go. So I could relate to is from that my generation. My
Mhm,
generation, we would recite perhaps not 70 shlok, okay, but a good perhaps 2, 3 times finish. You know, 30 shlok in one go, and now, please, Prabhu, can I recite one shlok, and tomorrow I will call you back another shlok, perhaps 2 shlok, okay, 3 shlok. So even in ISKCON, the level is rapidly diminishing, rapidly. I guess it's due to internet and the phone and all these things. Women not distracted like now.
like my Guru Maharaj, he would study Bhagavatam every day from childhood. He would study even till yesterday when he was in good health. So
Exactly.
so the more you understand Shrimad Bhagavatam, you realize you have to give almost your whole time to Bhagavatam every day.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. You know, if I were you, then that's what I do personally. As soon as like this Ganagadasan has done a tremendous job, what I would suggest to do is all this shlok like 21 immediately in your book, in it was a pencil, of course, not a pen. You can write down, or this will be answered in small letters in Devahuti Lila, Dhruv. And then what you do, if you want to be even more thorough, you go back, you go to those Lilas in your third canto, fourth canto, and you mention, by the way, this is the answers to the question of Parikshit in 2:821. That's very thorough. So in
Mm-hmm.
1 year from now, when we have reached, let's say, the fourth canto, oh, I remember 2:818 we discussed in 2024, because it pops out because you have jotted it down. That's what I do personally.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not uh, I'm not an expert, but I'm methodically organized,
Mm-hmm.
and this I got from Buddhism. Buddhism is extremely organized. He's the king of organization. He's the king of details, the king of
So my
feeling.
question to you, Prabhu, I'm just asking you,
Yeah.
suppose I mean you studied with Purijan Prabhu.
Mm.
Suppose you have, I guess, see, you mentioned Burijan Prabhu. First, it was on site, and the students were, as you mentioned, this study went on for 8 years. So I would say this would have been the best course of actions if Bhagavad study of Bhagavad was established in. I, I'll take example. I live in Mauritius in a certain region. So I would say there among the devotees, the congregation that is developing, there should have been, or there should be a class of Bhagavatam established where devotees are not just going for home program or book distributing books or doing things, but at the same time study Bhagavatam scrutinizingly,
Hmm?
revise, come to the class, like going on for, I would say, for life.
Now
I mean,
exactly, but that's what I'm doing. I mean, we meet once, twice a week, but it could be every day.
yes, so
It
this
could be
is
every
what
day.
I feel like for
It could
devotees,
be every day,
because
2 hours a day for the
exactly.
rest of your life. I fully agree.
Yeah, like for devotees, at the end of the day, in my 20 years of being in Krishna conscious, and I would say about my experience, devotees just start chanting and go through the process of initiation, do service, and it's a bit like they are floating in
Of
Krishna
course,
consciousness.
of course.
But diving means
There's
you are studying every day
every
and
day.
you
It's
are in the
ongoing
heat.
systematic training. Of course. Buddhism was
Yeah.
he used to tell us, you have to work hard. We just discussed 284, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Shripatam Shradaya Nitya Grinatas Vachesh. You have to earnestly put great efforts, endeavor. Grinatas
Mm-hmm.
Vacheshtam. See, Buddhism was like this, finicky pushing us, not pushing us with a whip, no, out of
Yes,
love.
yes, I understand.
He gave
Yeah.
us the taste. What do you think I'm going on alone for years and years and years? Because I've got,
Mm-hmm.
he gave me the taste. It's not even my
And
Guru, actually. He's my Shastra Guru. He gave me the taste. So even without him now, I haven't seen him, I haven't taken classes for the last 20 years. But he gave me the taste. And of course, I have to cultivate the taste, otherwise the taste will go. Why
Yeah.
you say I teach? Because I'm the first beneficiary. Because I'm not a fool. I know by teaching, I carry on, I cultivate the taste. And I'm trying to give you the taste of Bhagavatam. So you can do it on your own, carry on every day, and then give the taste to others. So wherever I settle in the world, I will do the same. I will try to find people who can appreciate Bhagavatam daily. I don't mind giving daily.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what happens is when you teach Bhakti Shastri or BV, you are dealing with oftentimes with outside people. They work, they have kids, so they will never
Mm-hmm.
accept that you teach 2 hours a day. Sorry, they will say, "Sorry, I'm out of here." So you have to accommodate them. 2 hours a week, 4 hours a week. But ideally, yes, it should be 1 hour every day. See, even the Bhagavatam class in the morning, this is for rank and file devotees because it's not systematic study. You follow?
No, no, it's not.
So that's the rank and file devotees. They have enough, they have like a little taste. But if you want to go deeper, you have to immerse yourself much deeper. What we are
Mm-hmm.
doing together is systematic study. We are turning every stone practically in the purpose. That's why
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take us, the whole Bhagavatam at this rate is going to take us another 10 years. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
When I studied Bhagavatam on my own, when I joined, it took me 13 years, 1 3. And
Mm-hmm.
then I took perhaps, I wrote 50 textbook of notes. And then I joined Buddhism, then again another 8 years. Not even the whole Bhagavatam, only up to 10 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, I don't mind doing it again with someone else if he's competent. If Guru Darshan teachers or what's his name, my good friend Kanai Krishna.
Because for me, after so much realization and understanding, I do feel that the environment of devotee should be established in such a way that there is, as much as they do harinam and other things,
Yeah,
preach, we should have our own studying every day.
exactly.
And you see, the thing is, yes, Prabhupada said, okay, everyone should study for 1 hour, read Bhagavatam, read Bhagavad Gita. But if it's done in association of devotees in a systematic way, that's very powerful.
Exactly. But,
And
but you cannot
I would,
force people. Devotees
no,
are.
no, but then at least if you have two, three, or,
Yeah,
five, I would say it's not difficult to find two people or three
yeah.
that are in the same mindset
So in
and to
Mauritius, you
do
can do that.
so.
Yeah? Mauritius is very, very fertile land, and people are extremely pious. So you can do that. I can do that. Everyone can do that. But they need to be equipped, and they have to be quite immersed themselves. You cannot teach what you don't have. You follow?
No, but this is what, as and you already said, and Bhakti Priyad
You know
Bhagat Maharaj.
what's happening in Mauritius, Prabhu? Many senior devotees are just encouraging devotees just to chant, do Harinam,
But
Kirtan.
yeah, it's not
That's it.
enough. That's fine. That's wonderful. But Bhagavatam should be there. Bhagavat Shravan, it's one of the Pancanga Bhakti. Shraddha Dure Stupan Shake. Even if you have a faint Shraddha Dure, very faint Shraddha. Sadhya Bhava Janmane. If you are not offensive, you will get Bhav. Okay, so they are right. Namruchi, Kirtan, deity worship, Sadhu Sangha, yes. But don't belittle Bhagavat Shravan. Personally, see, it's a matter of taste. But you cannot do kirtan all day. That's great. I mean, that's wonderful. But look at Indra Prabhu. He was doing kirtan all day for years, for decades. But how deep he was in Shastra. You know, he had eight eight around the clock, 24 hours a day kirtan. And when it was not his turn to chant, what would he do? He would worship his shilas and he'd study like anything. So he
Yeah,
was,
so
you know, he was
mm,
also tutored into Bhagavad Shravan. He was very steeped in philosophy. Yeah.
mhm. Prabhu, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Mm.
Suppose, okay, I'm explaining to you the situation where I live.
Mm.
We preach and then we make devotees, and then it's a family. Suppose there is husband, wife, and then there is teenage in the family. Some children are almost reaching the age of 15, some 11, or, or there are kids. So I believe a proper congregation is you it's it and it takes care for the the spiritual life of overall, not just have home program which is only catered for the adults and the children's, or doesn't have anything much to do. So as we cultivate devotees, we should have something for the children ongoing, like
Mhm.
other study of Shrimad Bhagavatam. The way we are studying, that's mainly for uh, uh, young adults and onwards. So we should have something for everyone.
Yeah,
And
this lady, as you know, what's the name? Up the mother of this PhD boy.
yeah, Aruda.
Madhura. That's those books are wonderful. I've been trying with my boy, but my problem is that his English is too mediocre. So first he has to learn English, and his English is there, but not enough to.
So
I have to
yeah. mm,
spoon feed him basically.
So
With
my question to you, Prabhu, is you if you come to Mauritius because you're so good at teaching, will you be okay to do these
yeah, I
things
would
on
love
every
to
day?
teach him Mauritius every day, and we can make some balls, put on the balls. Please come, such address. Actually, if I come to Mauritius, I'm going to reopen another center like CCV. Perhaps not on this on
Mm-hmm.
that scale, but um, you know, I'd like to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, my specialty is Bhagavatam. If you want to run a center, you need some income. So in those days, Sumitra was doing cooking, and we had uh, we had Ayurvedic doctor. People like it, to be treated Ayurvedically. Then we had a
Mm-hmm.
Hatha yoga teacher, and we had guitar. So it was a good, well package of 300 rupees a month in those days. And
Mm-hmm.
we had no shortage of money, no debts. It was well oiled, well oiled. So we can do it
Mm-hmm.
again. I have no objection. But my specialty is not cooking, so we have to find
No,
people.
no, that's you see, Prabhu. It's everybody with their skills and quality make the overall.
Yeah,
You see,
because you cannot say, well, we're going to open a center and just by giving Bhagavatam, money will come.
no, no. I would
People are,
say
they are not,
if you
you need a variety of of topics.
and that is needed for the society. You see, when we are preaching, preaching doesn't mean you just give. You just give the basic of Krishna conscious, and then you let the person on his own. I would say if you open a preaching center,
Yeah.
it's the why. You see, the children should have children program,
Yeah.
children
Exactly.
Bhagavatam. Then there should be someone who is good at that. And
Exactly.
then there should be teenage classes, and teenage
Yeah.
classes should be on about not just their, I mean, cater their need.
Yeah.
About, I mean, I was going to Christian church. They were doing that extremely well.
So we should.
And then you have young girls, young boys. They need to have marital counseling, training,
Yeah.
not counseling, but proper training. You know how to choose a husband, how to choose a wife, what the qualities you
Yeah.
should look to, and then look for potential husband. And when they're married, it's ongoing. You know, you have some counselors, vanaprasth people, how they should be trained to
Yeah.
retire. Like I can see many vanaprasthis, they don't have the proper knowledge, and they are a bit like they don't know how to get their feet from the grihastha ashram boat and put their feet in
Yeah.
their vanaprastha ashram. Like my mother, she should be. I'm giving you an example what I'm going through.
Mm.
Like I can see not only my mother and others, they are not properly trained how to shift from to get
Yes.
into Vanaprastha ashram,
So
and they're fighting like they
that
can
they
be
should spend
attached
much more
to.
time in India, traveling the land, holy dam.
Yes, but they should have the proper knowledge. Like,
Yeah.
look, you cannot hold on to the house or the children or
No,
control like a
no, no, no.
grihastha, but
That's
let
not their, no
them.
more their duty anymore.
But the thing is, they are not properly trained,
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
specifically,
So
even how
let's
to
do
take
it again.
sannyas.
Let's do the CCD again.
Because this is what the need, what I feel. There are
Yeah,
people who are living in grihast ashram. They are not they don't take shelter, or they don't have proper training. And I'm telling you, this is I'm just telling about my concern in Mauritius. If I have to perform devotional service, if I'm following this Srimad Bhagavatam, and if I don't act properly, it's just words, and I don't work on it, then devotional life is scientific. You
yeah,
learn, you put in practice, and you see the result.
exactly.
But if we are just learning and we are not practicing, how can we find the result? How can we see the
We're
result?
going in
How
circles.
can devotion? How can pure devotional? How can we even start trying to practice pure devotional service?
No, I mean, I don't mind giving it another try. Huh? Membership, and we
Because
kept
you see, Prabhu, I mean, in Mauritius, many devotees are, unlike other countries, they're investing their energy, their money, their time in building, in making buildings, making a yatra. But, and then just the lease is done. You know, the external, okay, let's have public program, let's have festivals, let's have this. But that's not enough,
not enough. You
you
have
know.
to nourish them from inside.
Yeah, and the worst thing is you uproot them from their material situation, and you bring them to the spiritual world, and you let them hanging around and
Yeah.
struggling.
This is
That's
not
the
just
worst thing
Mauritius,
you
this is
can do.
worldwide. This is worldwide. This occurrence is worldwide. They're not, it has to be grassroots work, systematic training in Bhagavatam. That's because if you don't have deep taste for Bhagavatam, you're not going to stay. Or you're
And
going to stay, but
also, if we are not doing that, we are not following Prabhupada. Prabhupada, you see, Prabhu, if we go through the purport, Prabhupada, so much pain he's taking, just a little. The translation is 4 lines, and Prabhupada is like writing more than almost sometimes 100 lines in a purport, and not just telling what he thinks. He's referring to Bhagavad Gita, he's bringing all that. So if we don't value, if we don't go through them,
Exactly.
And
That's
as you mentioned,
you say the
so
purpose are more important than the flow.
are we really doing, are we really progressing in our bhakti if we are not doing what Prabhupada not just said? You see, Prabhupada could tell us, okay, go and climb the tree and get your fruit. No, Prabhupada, he didn't just say that. He went, he climbed the tree, he took all the risk, he got the fruit down, he selected the fruit, and among the fruit, he even gave us the sweetest fruit, and he made sure, okay, if you bite here, these reference from Bhagavad Gita from here and there, and then we are not even taking the time to take the fruit and appreciate it. And when you eat the fruit, just like we are studying Shrimad Bhagavatam, just like you've done in your life. So Prabhupada knows if we eat that fruit in a proper way, that will nourish us, that will help us to progress in our spiritual life. If we're doing everything other than that, are we really are we really uh, doing what Prabhupada is
No, we are
expecting from us?
scratching the surface. We are
Exactly. So
shallow,
how long?
shallow devotees. It's called
Yeah.
shallow. It's called basically Prakrita Bhakta, Kanishta. You
But
know, within Kanishta, you find Kanishta Madhyam, Kanishta Uttam. So we are kind of Kanishta Madhyam, you know. It's going to take a
I
long
don't
time.
even I don't even know where I stand, Prabhu. I'm sorry to say.
By the bottom line is 16 rounds, 4 ranks, and then you build from there, you know.
But if we are failing to even uh
Then
chant
we have to
you
absolutely
know
do
if we're failing to chant 16 rounds and not follow the four eggs, the worst is that we are convinced, our mind is convincing us, okay, I'm still safe, I'm not chanting 16 rounds, and I'm still doing the right thing if I'm not following the fourth. And the worst is that is you feel that Krishna is approving that you don't chant your 16 rounds, and Krishna is approving that you don't follow the four eggs, and lower consciousness, that is like Krishna is approving, is telling you, okay, for the sake of preaching, for the sake